think we're live. 15 seconds. So if you've joined in, if you're looking now, welcome. I had planned to use a cool piece of software to stream this. I found a bit of software called OBS camera. So you can actually use your mobile phone, your cell phone as your webcam. But for some reason, Chrome browser isn't seeing my OBS virtual camera. Anyway, I think that's us on 7 o'clock now. Hopefully you can hear me. Please leave a comment below if you can hear me. That would be really useful if someone just comments in on this. That would be awesome. So hope if you are watching this live, I commend you for turning up on a Saturday. I know that it's been a pretty hectic week the last week, certainly in my business. Just getting back into the swing of things more than anything else. So I appreciate you turning up for this webinar. But we'll get straight into the content. Enough chatter. Now let me share my screen. Hopefully this works. And one of the problems that I've got here actually is I've got an ultra wide monitor now. So if I share my screen, it's going to just look really wide. Yeah, an application window. Let's try that instead. That would be better. If I pop that up here, you can still see me. So what have we got here on this first slide? So yeah, you are going to learn in the next half an hour everything, how to market your IT business in 2020. What is working in 2020 for marketing? There's so many different options open to you as an IT business owner, as an MSP. You could go Google Ads, you could go direct mail, you could do SEO. The list is endless, okay? So what I'm going to show you is what has worked for me personally over the last 12 months. I'm going to dive into the stats on this and show you the results of it. But I'm also going to kind of lay out basically what you need to do if you're looking to generate leads for your IT business or your MSP business in 2020 online. So yes, things like referrals, networking, BNI, all knocking on doors, cold calling, they all still work. But there is a far easier method of marketing that you can do to generate leads for your IT business that I'm going to show you. It takes literally 2 to 3 minutes every day, and there is absolutely no cost to it. So you as the IT business owner, MSP, I know what some of your pains are. I used to be one myself. One of the main ones is the fact that there's no time in the day to do everything, and marketing is usually last on the list. Well, guess what? This only takes 2 minutes a day, and there's no real budget tied to it either. So with this plan that I'm going to show you, this blueprint that I've kind of called it in this webinar, it's going to kind of pan out the next 12 months for you in your marketing strategy in 2020. So a bit of a disclaimer before we start. This masterclass is not for IT businesses still doing break fix charged by the hour work. It's specifically for IT companies looking to attract monthly recurring revenue clients. If you are still a break fix, I would highly recommend a book by a guy called Karl Palachuk. He wrote a book about how to move to your business to managed services in the course of 30 days. It's called Managed Services in a Month. Obviously, you might be an MSP that still has break fix clients, but the system that I'm going to show you in the next half an hour is specifically will help you attract recurring business type clients, so business to business type work. That is what we are looking at here. It's not for employees of IT companies. So if you are an employee, an engineer, a sales guy, a marketing person, this is not for you. It's for the business owner. Now, there's a really good reason for that. And I'll basically, all I can say, I'll go into the reason a little bit later in the webinar. But if you are an employee at an IT company, it's really not for you. This is not going to work unless you run the actual business, unless you're the owner of the business. Okay. This masterclass is for IT businesses that are looking for new business, that have the capacity to take on new business, that you have the capacity to attend sales meetings, follow up with people, leads, and that type of thing. So if you have the capacity to take on new business, if you have the capacity, if you have a sales process. So what I'm going to show you here is very much the marketing piece. So it's generating the lead. You still need that sales process, whatever that might look like. That's something that we help with at IT Rockstars in our membership. This is the whole marketing plan that I'm showing you. And it's for IT businesses that have a long-term plan for their business. That's who it's for and who it's not for. So with that out of the way, this is what you're going to learn over the next half an hour. It's probably actually going to be a little bit more than half an hour by the time I finish going through this intro. The next half an hour is going to identify the marketing channel that you should be using in 2020. And that is, if you haven't guessed already, it's video. We're going to deep dive into the stats of what I have done personally for my company, IT Rockstars, over the last 12 months. I'm going to go into my Google Analytics, and I'm going to show you the conversion rates on some of the pages on my website. And all of that stuff is purely organic. There's been hardly any paid advertising towards it. A little bit, a tiny bit, but not a lot. I'm also going to show you, obviously there's the case for video, but how do you come up with content for your videos and to do it on a consistent basis? And I've got here every single damn day. So I'm going to show you a lot of formula and how you can do that. And I'm also going to show you how to weaponize your videos in the last step here, which is extremely powerful just now because no one else is really doing it. No one that I'm aware of. There are a few bigger internet marketers that are doing it, and you'd pay quite a lot of money to get onto their course, but no one's really doing it. So I'm going to show you how to weaponize your sort of content that you produce for your IT business. Couple of house rules here. Stop me, comment if you are bored of this webinar. Okay, so I only want to show you awesome stuff within the next half an hour. And this webinar is extremely useful, so I encourage you to bookmark it. It's going live out on Facebook, so there is a way to save it somehow. It's 3 dots at the top of the post, I think, and you can save the video for later later consumption. Excuse me whilst I have a sip of my beverage. It is Saturday night, of course. Okay, so before we get started, a little bit about myself. I run a company called IT Rockstars. I have been an IT person all my life. I started at the age of 12. I was a desktop engineer back then. My gran gave me a big wad of cash, and she said, "Hey Scott, go and buy yourself a computer." So that's what I went and did. I remember looking through a big magazine looking for the best spec machine and for the best price. I didn't really care on the brand or anything like that, but I remember looking through magazines day in, day out at the age of 12, and I finally found one, purchased it. The first thing I did was I took the whole thing apart and then attempted to put it back together again. That was actually the easy bit, the physical bit. The hard bit was when I flattened the OS, was actually getting hold of the device drivers. Now you got to remember, this was back in the Windows 95 era, when there wasn't that much internet about. So if you didn't have the CD-ROM with your device or the disk with your device drivers, you were kind of screwed. But that whole hobby turned into a career. Desktop support, then onto IT manager, fairly large organization, 40 sites, 600 users. Then I went on to work for an MSP, had my own MSP, and now I help IT businesses market their IT companies, their MSPs market their business. One of the biggest things that I'm in business for is because I see so many IT companies and technology companies, whilst they lead with the technology and they're really good with technology, when it comes to marketing, they're absolutely shit, basically, excuse my French. So IT Rockstars is here to change that. That is our whole mission. So at the age of 35, when I kind of went from the working in the MSP as a senior systems engineer, was kind of top of my game, and I thought I really need to challenge myself. Went into sales. So we've got here still playing at toys at age 35. So I was still very much technical role back 5 years ago, and I completely transformed into a salesperson for like a year and a half before I owned my own MSP. And owning my own MSP And what I learned there was there's a lot of work running an MSP. I kind of already knew that anyway, because the one that I worked at before, um, I started there when there was only 3 guys in the door, and we kind of grew it up to 30 employees. And I know how much work's involved. And I realized kind of about 6 months into IT Rockstars, I don't actually want to run an MSP, but I have this hobby, which was SEO and marketing for other websites that I have. And I thought, why don't I help IT companies with their marketing? So that's my passion. And I think it's because you get the whole technical bit in marketing, and there's also a creative element. So that's what I love doing, is the marketing piece. I'm helped over 100 IT businesses globally now with their marketing. And one of the biggest pain points when I was doing IT sales, this is back to yourself now, enough about me. It was one of the biggest challenges. I mean, the first challenge was coming up the server room and actually having to speak to people and put on a suit. That was actually really difficult for me. Attending BNI meetings, that was just horrible. You can read all about that scenario in a book, an up and coming book that I'm going to be launching. But the biggest pain point I had when I was doing IT sales and when I had my own MSP was generating qualified leads. So once I was speaking to a business owner about their technology and the problems they had, or the solution that they required, that was really the easy bit, because I knew the technology and I was comfortable speaking in front of people. But the hardest bit was actually getting the lead in the first place, getting in front of that person. That was like the toughest bit. And it was so difficult for me to get leads. I was doing things like BNI meetings, networking, cold calling, hoping and praying, and it was never consistent. And at the time, I didn't do any marketing whatsoever. I mean, looking back on it now, it's like, why not? Stupid, I know, but that was the way it was. But it was the biggest pain point. So I know what your frustrations are, because I've had exactly the same frustrations. And I'm here to show you today how you can quite easily crush those frustrations, okay? So let me get on to the actual content now. So we're in 2020, folks. Video marketing is all the rage. If you're not aware, it is kind of taking over everything else, okay? And the case for video marketing is it literally takes 3 minutes. You've got the device already in your pocket. You don't need to go and create a highly polished marketing video. You don't need to get an agency in, or a video editor in, or a professional. You really don't. And the reason that you don't need to have a highly polished video is because, and I've done the tests on this, you can go and spend $10,000 on a series of videos, or just maybe one really highly polished video, or you can literally pick up your phone, record a video that goes live. The algorithm loves live, Facebook algorithm. Now, there is a reason why we go live on Facebook, which I'll talk about later, and you post that same video up to LinkedIn, but the algorithm loves it. You'll find that you'll get much better engagement on a video that's recorded on your phone and that's off the cuff. It's in an environment that is not highly polished. You come across as more human, and it's less scripted, okay? The other benefit to you, if you do this on a consistent basis, and I have got a challenge for you, is you do it for 30 days straight. That's the challenge. But if you do it on a consistent basis, you have that potential prospect. You have multiple touch points with that prospect. And the other benefit is none of the competition that are doing it. And the other IT companies that are doing it, that you maybe know locally, they're doing it wrong. Okay, and I'll get into this, why they're doing it wrong. 9 times out of the 10 why they're doing it wrong. But probably back to the multiple touch points. I just realized my front light's not on. 2 seconds. This is an important thing when video. That's better. Always have the light facing you. So the multiple touch points. So one of the, if you do go live for 30 days straight as part of the challenge, if you do accept that challenge, it's a bit like buying a car. If you've ever purchased a car, you start thinking about, oh, I need a new car. Then you decide maybe what type of car you want, or you 3 or 4 cars, and you whittle it down to one. And then you go and maybe see that car. You start spotting that car on the road and on the street. You see it more and more, and it just enters your head more and more. and then eventually there's nothing else you can think about apart from buying that car. Well, it's the same with having multiple touch points with your prospect. If you're going to go live on a regular basis, like literally daily, that potential buyer is more likely to see it, and you're just entering their head more often. So it's far more likely that you're going to get that sales meeting. The other benefit of it is the fact that they will start to get to know you. They'll start to build up a relationship with you. It will be a one-sided relationship. So when you do reach out to them, when you do follow up, so they don't necessarily have to come to you, but when you reach out to them, they are far more likely to be open to a meeting as an introductory meeting. And then eventually when it does come to the sale, if you're up against a competitor or a series of competitors or their existing IT supplier, you're in a far better situation because they have been watching your videos. They kind of know you. They know the type of person you are, and you kind of have almost like it's like a celebrity status. That's the only way I can explain it. But because they see you all the time in video, you just have this like secret weapon in your back pocket that just wins. Basically, you can't go wrong with it. So that's the reason for video. Okay. But one of the things that we teach with video is like there's obviously this big fear that people have about going on live on camera and then posting it. I mean, the worst thing for me was posting it up onto LinkedIn. I was like, that really grated me doing it, and it is still just even now going live to this Facebook, and it's been shared in a Facebook group as well. It's still in the back of my head. There's still this little voice, but I know that it's worth it because of how much it's changed my business. So that is the benefits of video marketing. Okay, so I'm going to show you the stats. This is going to show you the reality. I've been doing this for 12 months now. I've been going live on video. I did it in January for 30 days. I did it in February for 30 days. And I kind of stopped doing it in March. And I picked it back up in July, August, and I think I did October as well. So you're going to see this in the stats that I'm going to show you. And I'm going to show you the sales that I've had from this. So just give me a second here to bring this up. Because I'm going to have to share another screen. Let me get into my Google Analytics here. Okay. We'll go back to me for a second. And if I stop screen, share screen, window application. This is more complicated than it should be. Here we go. Okay. So the website itrockstars.net, that's where we have our membership. It's $125 a month. It gives you access to written content. So if you aren't particularly, if you don't want to do video, then the membership's probably a much better option for you because you can get content and you can use a very similar system in the membership. But this is the analytics account for that website. And if we go to, we want to go down to, let's start off with an overview of the audience for the last year. Now, my website, as I mentioned, all of the majority of the traffic from it, none of it's paid, it's all organic. Let's go back to January and hit apply. So it's literally like a year we've got here. You can see here we've had almost 9,000 users to the site. But if we should maybe better off doing it in January. I'll give you a better idea what's going on here. All right, that's not going to work. Sorry about this. Yeah, so let's go back to January last year. All of this traffic that you see here, these 575 users that are on the website in January, have all come to the site because they have seen one of my videos. And in all of the videos that I do, I mention itrockstars.net. If you want to generate more qualified leads for your IT business, check out itrockstars.net. So that's a snapshot of January. And as the months have progressed, that traffic has just gotten bigger. But 575 users is no small number. And what I would say, if you're running an IT business or an MSP, realistically, how many prospects do you need? 100, 10, 5? I don't know. But 575 is an awesome amount. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on the stats, because obviously that 575 users is across the whole website. But we're interested in the sales page. So if you go to itrockstars.net, that front page, there's a button on it down the bottom. It's basically this. It takes you to the sales page. So anyone that's landed on the front page of the website or have navigated to the front page of the website, if they've clicked that button, they are interested in buying from me, because it literally is the sales page. And what I want to show you is the statistics around that sales page. So the sales page is this one here, MSP Marketing. And as you can see, over January 2019, it had 181 unique users to it. Let's do it for the year. Let's see how many people have done it in the year. Hopefully this works. This is the one that we're interested in. So it says almost 1,300 visits, so 1,272 visits. And that sales page has a 10% conversion rate. So anyone that goes onto it, now the stats are probably going to get a little bit skewed because all you guys and girls are watching this today and you might go into the page. But you can see here the months that I wasn't doing video. Can you spot them? I certainly can. And it was here. I stopped doing video literally the start of May. So the end of April, I stopped doing video. And guess what I started doing? If you look here, looky here, guess what I started doing 1st of July? Boom, video. I started doing videos again. And look at these. Now, these numbers, there's like maybe 6 people one day, 12 people another day, 6 people, 2 people, 4 people, 5. Whilst they're not big numbers, if you're consistently going live on video for a course of 30 days and giving your audience awesome content, and we'll speak a lot about the audience later on, they're going to go to your page and they're going to check out your services. And if you can have a page on your website that's crafted well for copyright, that basically captures people's details, this just works wonders. So that is the effect of going live in video for my own business. You can do this in your own IT business, MSP business. And that's something that we teach within the Academy, MSP Video Academy. And that's the whole reason for this webinar. But that's just the proof of the pudding more than anything else that you're seeing there. So let me get back to the slides. 2 seconds here. Stop sharing. Man, this is annoying that I have to do this every time. Windowed application, start sharing. There we go. So I'm going to show you something really useful. So if you do get over the fear of doing video, and if you do start going live in video, so the best way to do it is to do it on Facebook Live, on your page, go live on your Facebook page. And then when you're finished live, you can actually, there's an option, certainly in my iPhone, you can download the video to your device, but then you can also publish it to Facebook. And then what you do is you go into your LinkedIn app and you post that same video that you've just saved to your device up to LinkedIn. Okay, so you're showing it basically like that video in 2 places. You can show it in a lot more places than that, but I found that LinkedIn is actually the best avenue. But there's a reason that we use Facebook, which I'll get into. I think it's in the next slide. So one of the main problems once you've finally got over the fear of doing video is coming up with content. Now, we're all pretty lucky as IT business owners and MSPs because there's a lot of topics we can talk about. Technology, there's always something new. There's always someone being hacked. But it can, you can lose your direction a little bit on topics. And what I tend to do, and you'll find this a lot with a lot of the big sort of internet marketers, so people like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, Frank Kern, they use what are known as content pillars. So I basically modeled a lot of my videos on the system that they use, and they use something called content pillars. So the content pillars are almost like your reasons for being in business, why you're in business. So IT Rockstars, our 3 content pillars are build an audience. The second pillar is educate that audience. And then the third pillar is follow up with the audience. And what we do with those pillars with video is any topic that I have got to talk about has to relate to one of those pillars somehow. And the way that I do it in my video is I'll never do the same pillar twice in a row. So if I'm talking about building an audience, I'll never do building an audience on a Monday and a Tuesday. I'll always split them apart. It keeps the videos fresher, and it gets you thinking in the right way in your head about what you need to say to the camera. The other thing with it is it allows you to come up with topics that are kind of what's the word that I'm looking for? They match what you're doing in business, so you can quite easily go off topic and off tangents if you're doing live videos every day. But if you're strict in what your content pillars are, and the topic you've got has to relate to your content pillar, it just kind of matches what your business is all about. And you give out a clear communication. It kind of sounds a bit wacky, but it's more of a strategy than anything else. And it works really well, especially if you are going live for 30 days. The other thing that I would suggest that you do if you are going live for 30 days is that you take a break after the 30 days, because you will get tired of it. It becomes, it's fun doing the videos once you get into the hang of it. Once you're over the fear, it's fun to do them. But you'll find that over 30 days, you'll start to lose you'll lose some of the freshness. And I can feel that now, and I can only go live maybe once or twice a week at this point. But the way that I work it is I'll have a month that I'm planning out, and it's like, okay, I know for that month I'm going to go live. There's some cool things that I've got to speak about in that month, and I kind of build up that sort of list of cool stuff. So that's a really good strategy for your videos that will help you never run out of content, because these pillars will help you align. Other thing that you must do in all of your videos is be extremely helpful. So you have to come from the perspective of your audience. So the prospects, the type of businesses that you want to work with, the IT decision makers or the IT buying decision makers. Who are those people? What are their pain points in their business? How can you solve those pain points for them in your video? So like actionable stuff that they can actually take away and implement in their business today. And that's one of the things that we do at IT Rockstars in their membership, is all the content that we produce for our members at IT Rockstars. It's all actionable advice. So it's stuff that's going to help them in their business. They can act on that advice, and it's useful stuff. Because what will start to happen is when you're helpful in your content or your videos, and people will start to kind of like appreciate it and like, oh, that guy's helpful. And they'll start to maybe engage a little bit more in your videos, start to watch them more than they would normally. And that's when they start building up the relationship. And if they get to know you, then they get to like you. Well, then they start to get to trust you. So when it comes time to follow up and speak to these people, you're in a far better position. So you must be helpful. If you start any video, and I've done this myself, if any video you're maybe talking about your business or your service or your product, that will fall flat on its feet, because it's about you or your service or your product. It's not about their pain point and solving their pain point. So YouTubers do this. The biggest YouTubers that are, this is how they do it. A lot of the big ones is they've got their audience come first. So it's what their audience want. And for us IT business owners, you need to be solving problems over video. So a really good example of this from the content pillar side, if I was running an IT business now, one of my pillars would be secure. Second one would be prepared, and then the third one would be proactive. So the security one's fairly self-explanatory. Be prepared, that would all be about disaster recovery, recovering from ransomware infection, what my DR plan was. And then the be proactive is probably more about probably your technologies more than anything else for me. But to give you like a really good example of this is from being helpful to your audience. Maybe a good example is your prospects are in a certain situation. So that situation could be something like they are worried about the amount of email phishing that is coming into the organization, and you have to try and get them to point B within that, which is they're less worried about email phishing. So how are you going to help them get out of that situation in your video? So you would talk about things like multi-factor authentication and how it can help them get out, reduce the risk of email phishing. So that's like a tiny example of that sort of A to B approach, and it's something that we show within the MSP Video Academy. So that is that's the strategy and the pillars. That's like advice that you've got here for free. What I'm going to show you now is the weaponization of your videos. So going up to LinkedIn and Facebook and doing a live video is one thing, and then sharing that video places. There's lots of places that you can share your video, but this is the secret sauce that I'm going to show you now. So let me just take another little scoof. Two seconds here, sorry folks. And what I should do, let me just check my Facebook here. 2 seconds. I should have done this at the start. Sorry folks for this. Cool. All right, sorry about that. A little delay there. Let's go into the weaponization, the secret sauce then. So this is why you want to bookmark this video, because this is the weaponization of your videos. I can guarantee none of your competition are doing this. And it's the whole reason why you actually go on Facebook. So like as an IT business owner, an MSP, why would you promote your business on Facebook when you've got LinkedIn? Most of your prospects are probably on LinkedIn. But what you can do with Facebook, you can't do in any other platform. Excuse me. And basically comes down to, in fact, I'm going to bring up my browser to show you this. 2 seconds here. I've got a bit of software here called Lucid Chart. It's going to be easier if I show you this in a diagram. This weaponization. Okay, Lucid Chart, here we go. So you're going to go live in Facebook, FB Live, but you're going to download that video to your device, which I know in iOS allows you to do. Download. Once you've finished going live, you can download to device. And then you're going to post that video up to LinkedIn. And most of your prospects you're going to find are going to be on LinkedIn. You're going to find that it's easier to connect with people that you can do business with on LinkedIn. Once you've kind of come up with your ideal customer and you've defined that ideal customer, the type of business they are, the type of size they are, it's really easy to target them on LinkedIn. And it's something that we show at IT Rockstars how to do as part of our membership. But what you can do, once you've started connecting with people on LinkedIn and they start seeing your videos in their timeline, you see that because there's hardly anyone doing videos on LinkedIn, like just like a off the cuff video. There's a lot of nice looking stuff, but there's hardly anyone doing just off the cuff stuff. In all of your videos, you mention your website address. My website. And on your website, you have anyone that's interested in what you're saying, they're going to go and check out your website because you're going to have in your video some type of offer. But you'll always mention your website address. And if you've got like a really hard to pronounce website address or something that can't easily be spelled correct that easily, buy a vanity domain. Just buy like a domain that you can easily say on video. and redirect it to your website. But you can put a retargeting pixel on your website, a Facebook retargeting pixel. And that will basically drop a cookie on that website, on that browser, that website visitor's browser. So you might have experienced this before when you are on Amazon or another e-commerce site. You're looking at a product, but you don't purchase it. Then you go off and do something else. You come back and look, hey, wow, on Facebook, that same product showing up in your timeline. Well, that's because that e-commerce website and Amazon have retargeting pixels, and they retarget you on Facebook. You can do the same thing for your IT business or your MSP. You can set up a retargeting pixel, and then you can set up an ad campaign, a very specific ad campaign, to target people that have been on your website. Okay. And if you're doing this consistently, if you go live for 30 days and everyone on LinkedIn that you're connected to, some of that percentage will be your ideal prospects, and you mention in those videos your website, they'll visit the website and they get the pixel on their browser, and then you can start popping up in their Facebook timeline. And we call this so remember, we're doing 30 videos, but what we actually do is we create a paid advertising campaign on Facebook that targets people that have been on our website. Now, the cost to do this is cheap. It's really cheap. It's not expensive at all. It's something like 5 cents an impression to do this. And what happens is you have 5 videos set up within that campaign, and you can tell Facebook, this is the engagement intelligence that you can't get from any other platform. If they have watched a certain percentage of any of those 5 videos, then you add them into a warm audience bucket. That's what I call it. So we've got kind of like our cold audience here. I mean, they aren't really that cold because they've already been to your website. But if they've watched one of these 5 videos, like, you can tell Facebook if this you can create an audience basically, and you can say to that on Facebook, you can say, create an audience based on if anyone watches one of these 5 videos, if they watch 25%, 50%, or 75%, add them into this audience. And then you can use that audience as another target in an ad campaign. And this is where you have your warm audience. So video 1, all the way up to video 30. So you probably got 25 videos in here. And what you do is, when you go live on Facebook over the course of that month, you look at the stats and you see which videos have performed the best, and you make those best performing videos, you put them in the cold audience. So they're going to get better engagement because they perform better. And then anyone that's watched any of those 5 videos, like 25 or 75, I've got mine set at 75%, they get added to the warm bucket, and then they get targeted with all these other videos. And basically what the system does is it means that you're appearing in that person's timeline every single day. And that allows you to help them in their business. And they will either, there's one or two things that's going to happen here. They're either just going to ignore what you've got to say, and they might even block you because you might start to become that little bit annoying. But the other thing that might happen, and it will happen because I've shown you the stats, is they'll start to like get interested in what you've got to offer and what you're doing, and they'll want to find out more, and then they'll go back to your website. They might reach out to you. That's happened to me a few times. The other thing that will happen is that you'll have a much better chance when you follow up. So a lot of your LinkedIn connections, if you connect with a prospects list, give that sort of warm that prospects list up over the course of 4 or 5 months, and then follow up with them with a phone call, you'll find that they'll be much more willing to kind of open the meeting room door and find out a little bit more about your IT business. So that's the secret sauce of doing video, and that's how I've done it. As I say, there's hardly any ad spend that's went into this. It's minimal. And the only other cost that you've got to do this, apart from the fear of getting over doing video, is the 3 or 4 minutes of actually recording a video on your phone. So that is the sauce. I don't know if anyone's got any questions, but I'll go on to the next slide here. Let me just, I have to stop sharing again and then go back into PowerPoint, open PowerPoint. Don't you just love technology? There we go. So that was what I covered with you is a very sort of high level overview. We have a product. It's a 12-week course called MSP Video Academy. It closes actually. We're only taking in a few students. So at the time of going live on this webinar, we only have 12 spots left available. So there is not that many spots left, but it's a 12-week course. And what that course will do for you, it'll go into the details of video and how I have done this. And you've seen the stats there and how I kind of achieved those stats. But we have after each module, so it's 6 modules, and then the following week we have a Q&A call. And the whole purpose of the Q&A call is more of an accountability. So as I say, we have a challenge within the academy, which is go live for 30 days straight. Once you do that, you're gonna be golden basically. But we have a Q&A at the end of every single module, and you can dial in for that, and you can ask any questions you've got. The one that's had the most questions previously was obviously setting up a Facebook advertising campaign, because that's quite complex. What I've just shown you in that lucid chart is actually pretty difficult to do, but it's easy within the academy. We show you how to do that. The course is almost sold out at this point. As I say, we only have a few more spots left. The doors shut on Sunday evening, I think. It might be more into Monday, depending on time zones. And we're not going to be opening it again for some time. And the main reason for that is we like to keep the group small, so that everyone gets a chance to ask any questions they've got, anything like that. There's also a full refund guarantee. So if you follow along with what the course instructs, and you attempt to do this and you don't get any results from it, full refund, no questions asked. So go and check out the MSP Video Academy. If you have any questions, if you're not watching this live, just put your questions below in the comments. I will answer them until then, up until the date that we close the doors on this. But as I say, there is limited time. So if you do want to kind of rocket boost your marketing at minimal cost, then this is the way to do it for 2020. That's it. I think that's me. I think I deserve another scoop of my beer now, actually, don't you? Cool. All right. Take it easy, guys and girls. I'll catch you all again later. Bye-bye.